Have you ever noticed that the most magnetic men in any room aren't usually the loudest ones? They're not the guys dominating every conversation or desperately trying to prove how interesting they are. I learned this lesson the hard way at a party 2 years ago. I was in full performance mode, telling stories, cracking jokes, trying to impress this woman I'd just met. Meanwhile, this other guy was just there. He barely said 10 words the entire night. But guess who she left with? That night changed everything I thought I knew about attraction. The most attractive men operate on a completely different frequency. They've mastered something that most guys never figure out: the art of magnetic presence without verbal desperation. Today I'm revealing exactly what they do instead of talking constantly. These aren't pickup tricks or psychological manipulation. These are the subtle behaviors that create genuine attraction and lasting influence. If you're ready to discover why less talking equals more attraction, let's dive in. 1. They master the art of strategic silence. While most men fill every silence with words, truly attractive men understand that strategic silence is one of the most powerful tools in human interaction. They know when to speak and, more importantly, when not to. Think about the last time you were in a group conversation. Who commanded the most respect? Usually, it's the person who spoke less but made every word count. When they did speak, everyone listened because they had proven their words had value. I started experimenting with this after reading about how Steve Jobs conducted meetings. He would sit quietly for long periods, observing, thinking, processing. When he finally spoke, the room went silent because everyone knew he'd been calculating something important. Strategic silence works in dating for several reasons. First, it creates mystery. When you're not constantly revealing your thoughts and experiences, people become curious about what's going on in your head. Women want to know more about the man who doesn't feel the need to broadcast everything. Second, silence demonstrates confidence. A man who is comfortable with quiet moments is a man who is comfortable with himself. He doesn't need constant validation through verbal interaction. He's content in his own presence, which is incredibly attractive. Third, strategic silence shifts the dynamic. Instead of you working to entertain her, she starts working to engage you. She begins asking questions, sharing stories, trying to draw you out. This reversal makes your attention feel valuable and earned, rather than freely given. 2. They become masters of physical presence. Instead of relying on words to command attention, the most attractive men develop a powerful physical presence that speaks before they ever open their mouths. They understand that body language is a language more primal and persuasive than anything verbal. This goes far beyond basic posture advice. It's about occupying space with intention and moving through the world with purpose. When these men enter a room, you feel their energy before you hear their voice. I learned this from watching my friend David, who's incredibly successful with women despite being relatively quiet. He has this way of moving through space that's deliberate but never rushed. When he sits down, he takes his time and settles in completely. When he stands, it's fluid and confident. Every movement seems intentional. Physical presence shows up in several ways. First, spatial awareness, understanding how to position yourself in relation to others. These men don't crowd people aggressively, but they also don't shrink away. They find the perfect distance that feels confident without being invasive. Second, posture and bearing. Not rigid, military-style posture that looks forced, but natural alignment that suggests strength and confidence. Shoulders back but relaxed, spine straight but not tense, head level and eyes forward. 3. They listen with laser-focused intensity. While most men wait for their turn to speak, attractive men turn listening into an art form that creates deeper connection than any clever story or witty comment ever could. They understand that making someone feel truly heard is one of the most powerful forms of attraction. This isn't passive listening where you're just being polite. This is active, engaged, intense listening that makes the other person feel like they're the only person in the universe for those moments. I discovered this accidentally on a dinner date. My phone died, so I couldn't check messages or scroll. For the first time in months, I gave someone my complete, undivided attention. The change in her demeanor was remarkable. She became more animated, more open, more engaged. Later, she said, I've never felt so heard by someone on a first date. Laser-focused listening involves several elements. First, complete attention. No phones, no distractions, no rehearsing your response in your head. Second, emotional attunement. Picking up not just on what they're saying, but how they feel about what they're saying. You notice when their tone shifts, when their energy changes, when something resonates deeply. Third, strategic follow-up, asking clarifying questions, referencing something they said earlier, showing that you're processing their words on multiple levels. The power of this approach is huge. It makes people feel valued and understood. In a distracted world, someone who truly listens stands out dramatically. Women especially respond to this, because so often they feel like men are just waiting for their turn to talk rather than genuinely listening. 4. They communicate through deliberate action. Instead of talking about what they're going to do or what they believe, the most attractive men act. Their actions become their primary form of communication, speaking louder than any words could. This goes far beyond the cliché of show, don't tell. It's about realizing that demonstration is more powerful than declaration. People trust what you do far more than what you say. I saw this with my mentor. He never bragged about being successful, generous, or reliable. He simply lived it. When someone needed help, he helped. When he made a commitment, he kept it. When he saw an opportunity, he acted. His character was evident in his choices, not his claims. In dating, this principle translates clearly. Don't say you're interested, show it by remembering details, following through, being present. Don't talk about your goals, pursue them, and let your actions reveal your ambition. Don't declare your values, live them consistently. This approach builds trust and respect over time. Anyone can claim to be reliable, but only reliable men show up when they say they will. Anyone can claim confidence, but only confident men make decisions without seeking approval. 5. They ask questions that reveal character. Rather than trying to impress through achievements, truly attractive men become masters of inquiry. They ask questions that go deeper than surface-level small talk, revealing someone's values, passions, and personality. This isn't interrogation, it's sophisticated curiosity. While most men ask, "So what do you do for work?" these men ask, "What's the most interesting project you've worked on recently?" Instead of, "Where are you from?" they ask, "What's something about your hometown most people don't know?" These kinds of questions create depth and show genuine interest. They pull out stories and perspectives that others never reach. And in turn, they make women want to know more about the man asking them. A woman once told me about a date she had with someone she described as magnetic. "He barely talked about himself," she said, "but by the end of the night, he knew more about me than people I've known for years. And somehow that made me want to know everything about him." Asking thoughtful questions positions you as someone genuinely interested in others, not just yourself. That quality is rare, and it's magnetic. If this video changed how you think about attraction and communication, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments which of these principles surprised you most. Share your experiences with trying these approaches. I want to hear how they work in your life.